What's up, YouTube? PokePrimer here, ready to deliver you our week number 3 matchup here in the NPBF. Our team builder here against the Kisaki City Glaceons, who I believe are 1-1. We are actually sitting here nice, clean 2-0 so far this season. So hopefully we can keep up this momentum with another W. But our opponent here, Antonio, has quite the threatening squad here. Squad consists of the Tyranitar, which is a Z user, Milotic, Crocodile, Gardevoir, which is his other Z crystal user, Meltank, Gallade, Electivire, Roselia, Mawile, and Mega Lopunny. So right off the bat, Mega Lopunny is a threat, and my problem with Mega Lopunny this time around is usually I have a straight up bulky psychic type, no secondary typings to eat hits from Mega Lopunny for days. I don't have that in this league. I don't have that, so I'm going to have to do different things to beat it. Hopefully he plays like shit. Hopefully he plays bad and I can just beat it without really too much effort, which would be great. But highly, we'll just have to see. But so there's that problem. Crocodile could be a threat. Scarf Crook could be a huge issue. Milotic is stupid fat, and we don't really have too many great things. Like our electric type is not super strong, and it's going to be a lot more difficult to break through that mon in particular. So we have a couple things that might be able to do the trick, but we'll have to see what happens in this one. But and then there's that T-Tar setting up that sand, causing us issues. The rest of the team, for the most part, doesn't really cause us too much problems. Mawile is not a big threat. Roselia does nothing. Is basically just Weavile food. Electivire is kind of a pain, but can be handled. Gallade and Gardevoir, both base 80 speed, not too fast, can be easily taken care of with the right mon. I'm going to have to scout and see if they're scarfed or not. It's going to really all depend on how he plays with them. We'll see what happens. But if they're scarfed, then we'll know how to deal with them. If they're not scarfed, then they're even easier to handle. Meltank, nice and chunky, could be a good wall for our Zard if we play it poorly. Hopefully we don't play it poorly. But we have other things that can break through the Meltank. Yeah, so hopefully this team build will work really well for us, and we can go hard as a motherfucker against him. But the first mon, obviously, every week for the most part, is going to be Ron Weasley, our Weavile. Now, Ron Weasley here is extremely threatening to his team. The combination of Knockoff and Icicle Crash does so much damage. Knockoff will actually allow us to scout a bit against like T-Tar. Because T-Tar's a great switch into this mon. Like every time. Like T-Tar's just an amazing switch in. Like his switch into this mon aren't great. His switch into this mon are Mega Lopunny, which does not still won't appreciate it. Like once it's Mega Evolved, it'll appreciate it a little bit better. But until it's Mega Evolved, like it's not gonna appreciate getting hit by this thing. Especially since I'm adamant. He's got Milotic, which has to be careful about switching in, because it can't really switch in until after it gets its Flame Orb up, if it is going to be that set, because it's going to take way too much damage, and then without the Flame Orb boosting its defenses, it can't do shit, and it can't stop my Zard from sweeping either later in the game, so that's something to note. And the T-Tar, which we can scout for a Z move, and if he doesn't have a Z move, then we can literally just click our Fightinium Z. Hell, there might even be a time where I scare something out and I just click a dry Focus Punch on something. You think I won't dry Focus Punch? I'm going to specifically, and hold me to this, I probably won't do it in the long run, but hold me to this. I'm going to dry Focus Punch in this match. I'm just going to click dry Focus Punch. Bet. I will click dry Focus Punch. I am not against clicking a dry Focus Punch. I will do so. I'm not against. I ain't no bitch. I will click dry Focus Punch. on his team. I don't care. But, yeah, Knockoff Icicle Crash hits everything really, really hard. Besides that, Focus Punch with the Fightinium Z as our way of breaking through Meltank, breaking through Tyranitar, potentially breaking through Crook. If it's an Intimidate set, if it comes in, Fightinium Z, I'm 99% sure still kills. If not, well, we'll calc that when time comes, and really, Crocodile's not switching in on us anytime soon. And then we just have the Ice Shard. The only reason I have Ice Shard, to be completely honest with you, is in case of like a late game situation where Mega Lopunny's down low, and I can just come in with Weavile, click Ice Shard, and kill it. The only way that doesn't work is if he runs Quick Attack, and if he runs Quick Attack, then he's missing out on a potential coverage move, or something along those lines. Like if he's running like a Fake Out Quick Attack, Fighting Stab Return set, then he's missing out on any form of coverage that could be useful for my team. He's missing out on like Iron Tail if he wants to try to hit Florges or something along those lines. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this goes. Hopefully this Weavile works out really well against his team and can rack up some more kills and stay in the top 10 of the kill leaders. Next Mon, making its debut finally in this season, our other Z user, but not bringing Z this week obviously, is Dahlia, our Rose Raid. Nice female Rose Raid with Technician, Life Orb this week. Max Special Attack, just enough speed. Oh, by the way, we are running enough speed to outspeed a base 100 because he has access to Meltank, and if he wants to run at max speed, he could do so, and I just want to outspeed that. So that's what we're doing. Adamant Nature besides that, but we have Timid Nature here. Now, just enough speed to outspeed his base 80s with like Gardevoir and Gallade, because that's all we really can outspeed. He won't run max speed on Milotic. I know he won't, so I'm not going to bother speed creeping for that because that's dumb. Leaf Storm, Sludge Bomb, Extra Sensory, and HP Fighting. So, if Milotic has taken pretty much any chip at all, Leaf Storm just OHKOs. Leaf Storm just nukes the Milotic, even fully Spadef Calm. Leaf Storm just blows through it. Life Orb Leaf Storm from Rose Raid just blows it apart. So, this is one of our main ways to beat the Rose Raid. It's actually a really good switch-in to the, well, it's not a great switch-in. It's an okay switch-in, because, like, it can Ice Beam, but, like, if it has Ice Beam, then it's missing out on some other move that it might need. It might be missing out on, it's probably not missing out on Recover. It might be missing out on a status move. It might be missing out on Haze. You know, that's the cool thing about this team, is, like, when he's building, like, obviously he's going to put Scald, but he's got 3 move slots for potentially 4 other moves, like a status move, Haze, Recover, and Ice Beam. So he has to really decide which ones he prioritizes the most. And if anything, I think he probably would go Scald, Toxic, Haze, Recover as his move set for Milotic, because without Haze, he can't. Without Haze, Zard just sets up on it, and then just sweeps the whole game, and that's just the game. Like, Zard can just set up and sweep on it, no big deal. Without Ice Beam, Rose Raid comes in on it every single time without fail, without having to care, and can just click moves against it, which is really great. Without access to Recover, it doesn't have the longevity that it needs. Without access to Toxic, it can't stop some of its switch-ins from its potential switch-ins from coming in and, you know, weakening and whittling them down, like Rotom or something like that. So, he's got 5 potential moves and 4 move slots. So, it's going to be interesting to see what he decides to actually bring. If he decides to bring any of those at all. If he even decides to bring Milotic. If he doesn't bring Milotic, well, then that's going to be hilarious. I do have to be careful, though, because Meltank can come in and try to Sap Sipper away our Leaf Storm. But at the same time, if he's Sap Sipper, then that just means that he's not Thick Fat, which means I can blow through his team with Zard. Like, there's so many scenarios involved with a lot of these different situations that make it so that I essentially just have to play it by ear. You know, if he has Sap Sipper, then he doesn't have Thick Fat, and then Zard can just easily sweep. If he has Ice Beam, then he probably doesn't have Haze or Toxic, and, you know, Zard could potentially even sweep easier. And, like, other of my mons can come in on it pretty freely. Like, makes Rotom easier to switch in on it. or something like that. You know, I love the way my team is built because it forces his mons to basically have 4 move slot syndrome. Every mon to have 4 move slot syndrome plus issues with its abilities. You know, there's 2 different abilities that can work really, really well. I think he probably will more likely go thick fat, though, just because of the simple fact that I haven't brought Roserade in my first 2 matches at all. And he might not see that I have as good of a matchup with Roserade as I do, because, like, this thing can nuke Crook. If he brings, like, a bulkier Crook, this thing nukes Crook. This thing nukes Milotic. With Technician HP fighting, this breaks T-Tar very well. This also can actually do some significant damage to the Milotic, or the Meltank, and potentially somewhat the Low Pony, even though Low Pony does a ridiculous amount to me. And Extra Sensory is there specifically and only for the Roselia, because if he has anything on his team that can switch into this Mon safely, it's Roselia. Like, yes, he has the Mawile, but I just don't see Mawile coming. If he brings Mawile, then that just makes my life easier, because I can beat Mawile, like, pretty easily. Like, it's not a strong Pokemon. It's not something that can, like, that makes me worry at night, you know? Like, I can beat that. So, I can definitely beat him down with this Mon in particular, and with the Extra Sensory that allows me to break through the Roselia if he does bring that. So, I'm not really worried. Next Mon we're bringing is Natsu, our Mega Charizard X. Tough Claw's ability with Dragon Dance, Dragon Claw, Flare Blitz, and Earthquake. This is our main potential sweeper this week. We have enough speed to outspeed potential Evire, which is great. If we can get up a Dragon Dance, we can literally just start punching holes through things. We'll be faster than all potential Scarfers. He does have the double Intimidate core between Mawile and Crocodile. I only expect him to bring at least 1, but regardless, neither one really wants to switch into me, because Flare Blitz will destroy the fuck out of Mawile, and Crocodile's not going to appreciate a fucking Flare Blitz from a max attack Tough Claw's fucking Charizard X. So it's gonna come down to, you know, what kind of sets he decides to bring. He might bring a Scarf Moxie set, and at that point I can just Flare Blitz and nuke him, which would be great. Like, there's so many options that I can run with this Mon. It's so good. I do have to run Dragon Claw because he does have the Milotic, and he also... Actually, does he not have another dragon on his team? He actually doesn't have a dragon on his team. I wonder if Thunder Punch is better. We're going to run this calc right now. We're going to run this calc against Milotic right now. Charizard... Mega X. Standard Dragon Dance. First off, just Jolly does... Well, actually, this is not the right set that I want to grab. Milotic. Let me just grab Jormungand, because Jormungand is just a better set. Dragon Claw versus Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch actually does more. Actually does significantly more, so I can get to +1. Thunder Punch is a 2-ko. So I'm actually going to not be running Dragon Claw, because realistically, like, look at the rest of the team. Earthquake hits T-Tar, Flare Blitz hits Crook, Flare Blitz hits Gardevoir, Flare Blitz / Earthquake / Thunder Punch hits Meltank, Flare Blitz hits Gallade, Earthquake hits Electivire, Super Effective Flare Blitz for Roselia and Mawile, and anything really for Megalop. So Thunder Punch is going to take the place of Dragon Claw on this set. Bada boom. I think I thought about that now. So +1, we can 2-ko a Milotic with... And if it doesn't have Haze, then it's even better, because we can just beat Milotic 1v1. And that's also depending if he has, like, the same spread that we had. Like, if he has a different spread, we might not be able to 2-KO, or we might actually guarantee 2-KO no matter what. But, regardless, you know, we can still beat him down pretty significantly with this Mon. So, yeah, we get a Dragon Dance up. We can win. If we get 2 Dragon Dances up, we guaranteed win. With Zardex, just plain and simple. That's just the way it is. Next up, we have Vermilion, our Florges. Vermilion is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful creature. Rocky Helmet, Wish, Protect, Moonblast, I'm struggling with this set. And actually, I am going to change this set as well. I'm going to take away Aromatherapy and give it Defog. The reason I'm giving it Defog is A... Yeah, I didn't put Defog on him. The reasons I'm giving it Defog include... A, I want to get rid of the hazards on my side of the field. I just think that it'll be better to get rid of my hazards now with this Mon than other Mons on my team. This is just a better hazard remover for me this week. Secondly, I don't need Aromatherapy that much. Looking at his team, the things that are going to be trying to status us, if anything, would be like Stun Spore or Sleep Powder on Roselia, which isn't that bad. Like, Dahlia switches into Roselia every single time without fail, so I'm not worried about that. And, like, maybe a random Toxic here or there, which, at the end of the day, I can play around a random Toxic. Or, like, a random Scald Burn, which the only things really potentially going to be taking Scald Burns are either going to be Rotom or Roserade. And neither one really cares about a Scald Burn. So, I don't really need the Aromatherapy, now that I think about it. So Defog's just much better, because he does have, you know, fairly okay Rock Setters with T-Tar and Crocodile, like really good Rock Setters. He could also potentially set up Spikes or T-Spikes with Roselia, Stealth Rocks with Mawile, like and with Meltank. Like, he's got a lot of Rock Setters on his team, so having the Defog option is good. This is our main switch into Mega Lopunny, and it's not even a great one, but it does have the Rocky Helmet. It's physically defensive, and basically we switch into Mega Lopunny, and we have one of two options. We can either Wish, try to get our HP back right away, Wish Protect on it and such, or we can just click Moonblast. It does like 80-something% to the Lopunny or whatever, and that's basically that. Like, Lopunny's basically dead because of the Rocky Helmet and such, which honestly I do think that that's probably more likely to play, but that's just me. So, you know, we'll see what happens with that, but this is basically our only real good switch into Mega Lopunny, and that really sucks, but we gotta do what we gotta do. Mega Lopunny's a threat, what can I say? Like, it's a problem. It's a problematic Pokemon. It's something that I really don't like facing, and I'm not happy that I don't have just a straight-up bulky Psychic to deal with it, but that's neither here nor there. Might have to look and see if, like, with free agency, I can maybe tweak that and fix it, but who knows? We shall see. We shall see. But that's our Florida set. Moonblast is just good. Hits everything except for the Roselia and the Mawile. Neutrally or super effectively, which is nice. And then Wish Protect to keep me healthy, and Defog to get rid of hazards. Great. Next up, making his debut this season, we have All Blacks, the Passimian. Choice Scarf Passimian. Really wish he had Defiant. Really wish he had Defiant. That'd be so good. Be such a great ability. Especially with 2 Intimidators on their team. Would have been such a great ability to have. But, Choice Scarf, just max attack, max speed. I have to run max speed so to force the speed tie with potential Scarf Gardevoir, force the speed tie with potential Scarf Gallade. If those situations arise. Close Combat, Gunk Shot, Earthquake, and U-Turn. Close Combat will tear through the T-Tar, will tear through the Crocodile, will tear through the Meltank, etc., etc., and just hit everything really, really hard. Nice stab Close Combat from Passimian. No one appreciates it. We have the Gunk Shot to hit the Gardevoir, because Gardevoir is probably one of his only real switch-ins to this Mon, which is actually really cool. Because nothing else this team really wants to appreciate it. This thing will also actually outspeed Megalop, which is great. So that's really cool. This thing outspeeds Megalop, so we can actually, like, if something does die, we can just bring in Passimian and revenge it. And then, bada boom, realest guy in the room. We have U-Turn for momentum, and we have Earthquake to hit, like, something like Electivire or some shit. If that situation arises, or like Mawile, potentially, if it wants to kind of switch in on us and such, like, if we had Defiant, it'd be so good. But, that's Passimian for you. Just really straightforward. Choice Scarf Passimian. I'm really looking forward to using this Mon. And, yeah, let's see what we can do with it. The last Mon we're bringing this week is Hwere, guys. The Rotom Hwere, the Rotom. Also Choice Scarf, but this one's a little bit of a different Scarf set. We're getting enough speed to outspeed the base 80s in Gardevoir and Gallade. And we are running Volt Switch, Hydro Pump, Pain Split, and Trick. The goal of this Rotom, looking at his team, the switch-ins to Rotom are as follows. Electivire, which I doubt he would go into on me. Roselia, which would be a really, really great switch-in on me every single time. Roselia switches into Rotom 10,000 times a week, which would be really, really fun to get that taken care of. But Thatmon, and that's pretty much about it. Not even Milotic, because you don't really want to switch in on a potential Volt Switch with Thunderbolt. But we're going to try to trick the Scarf on something like Roselia, something like, not Evire, because I really don't want to deal with a Scarfed Evire, to be completely honest. I'd rather him not be Scarfed. If Evire is there, I'm more likely just to click Hydro Pump and just kind of work him into a rhythm of bringing in something like Roselia. That's not my set. That is not my set. That is not my set. We have that. We have that. We have that. And we have that. Yes, that's the set. That's the set as it was. Yikes. Hate when I accidentally click stupid things. But, yeah. If I can trick the Scarf onto the Roselia, that officially cripples it for good. Because without the Eviolite, it can't take any hits. But, yeah, I think this Mon has a lot of potential to do well for us. Volt Switch could be nice. Hydro Pump could be very useful to break through things like Crocodile. And just overall, I think this could be a good Mon to have for us. Actually, if we can get this thing in on... if Roselia is dead and we can actually get this thing in on Crook, we can maybe even force in the Milotic to try to eat the Hydro, and we can trick a Scarf onto there, too. It's really just going to come down to what we can potentially trick a Scarf onto, but there's a lot of things that would not appreciate it, and it would be great. But that's going to be all for now, though. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like down below and subscribe if you haven't already. I do enjoy doing these really in-depth team builders. I really like going as far in on depth on these teams as I can. But yeah, until next time, though, guys, I am PokePrimer. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.